Football is here! Woo! And this season, it's gotten off to a different start, to say the least. We have no Brady, no Romo, no Peyton. We're out with the old, we're in with the new. The LA Rams had a very forgettable start to their season. They went 28-0, not a single point. Yikes. Let's break down the highs and lows and look into the future. I'm Rachel Besser, and this is Fantasy My Way. Well, week 1 is in the can, and so is New York Fashion Week. That's right, my first riveting weekend in football was also filled with runway shows and parties. But despite being super busy, I was still able to check all of my scores for fantasy. Thank you, modern technology.
It's Fashion Week. I just got out of a fashion show, checked my app, and my team is losing. And then it started raining on me.
Spoiler alert, I lost this week.
My team lost.
My team was crap. Okay, fine, I'm being a little bit aggressive. We didn't do horribly, but a loss for me is a loss. The main issue here was Des Bryant. Love the guy, he's my main man, but with Tony Romo out, things are gonna get a little testy.
My plan this week is fairly simple. I'm going to pick up wide receiver Mike Wallace, who's on the Ravens now. Everyone thought he was over. Turns out he's not. I'm also going to pick up rookie wide receiver Will Fuller. I think he had an amazing first game. He caught 5 passes. He had 1 touchdown. It was unbelievable. I also plan to drop my 2 wide receivers, Kevin White and Jermaine Kearse. I'm sitting down with my week 2 opponent, James Cabrera. He also works at Refinery, and I've heard he can throw down in fantasy. You've heard my game plan? Let's go hear his. Get to know your R29 Fantasy League owners. James Cabrera is one of R29's interface designers. His team, Spin the Bortles, is currently 0-1 and looking for their first W of the season versus Good, Better, Besser in week 2. We're about to get it poppin', you and I.
Yeah.
I know. Have you played fantasy before?
Yes, I'm actually in 3 leagues
Oh my
this
God.
year.
How do you manage that? 3, I can barely do.
So when I drafted my team, I tried to draft the similar players so I wouldn't have any conflicts every weekend watching the games.
Right. What is your strategy when it comes to week? Walk me through your plan.
I usually, when I'm looking at the waiver wire, I look at the amount of targets. So targets means like that's the amount of times the quarterback actually threw the ball, whether or not they caught it.
Yep.
So if your quarterback is targeting a certain player, a lot of times that means, he might have a higher chance of getting more yardage, or he might be a favorite person that the quarterback's trying to hit.
So how are you feeling then about next week? It's you and me. We're going head to head. How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good. I mean, I just felt like all my players had an off week last week, but I feel like I'm going to kind of roll with the same lineup I had last week, just hoping Gronkowski's actually in there this weekend.
How about if we make a bet?
Okay.
And loser this week has to wear a costume of the winner's choice to work and just in general for one day. What do you say?
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Deal?
Let's do it.
Nice, we're on. This is gonna be
Cool.
some good stuff. How about we also cheers to that?
Cheers.
James, I wish you all the best. Good luck, even though you're gonna lose. But now is the moment you've all been waiting for. It's my hot, fiery tips for week 2. Here are my must-starts for the week. Number 1 is definitely gonna be the running back Spencer Ware. He put up 25 points this week, and until Jamal Charles is back, he's gonna keep crushing it. My next must-have is definitely going to be sophomore running back Melvin Gordon. He had his first breakout NFL game with his first 2 touchdowns, and he had 17 points for fantasy. I would put him in a running back 2 position or your flex position. My final must-start is definitely quarterback Jameis Winston. He threw for 281 yards, had 4 touchdowns, and he's owned by 60% of leagues, but was only started in 15.7% of them. Pick him up, start him. My second hot tip is going to be to sit the Cowboys passing game. Dak Prescott only put up 10 fantasy points. That is atrocious. And even worse, out of 45 pass attempts, only 5 were in the direction of Dez. What a disaster. I think they're gonna click in the upcoming weeks as they play more together, but for week 2, I say sit him. My hot tip 3 is who to pick up this week. After wide receiver Keenan Allen went down with a torn ACL, things got really interesting for San Diego. I would say you should pick up Tyrell Williams and Travis Benjamin. And while we're on the subject, there are a bunch of other wide receivers you should pick up off the wire this week. Those are my hot tips for the week. If you have any questions for week 3, leave them in the comment section below. I've made my picks, you make your changes, and let's hope for a big fat win this week.